expect that only to get better, don't you? I mean, have you done much, I guess, as a university? Is it more inbound calls than anything?
No, fortunately, this is an emphasis that we've put on really putting a strategy behind season ticket sales. And so we were prepared for it. Obviously, we didn't expect to see a coaching change. But for us to be able to roll out season ticket opportunities, I mean, as soon as the season was over, it was bowl game, opportunity to buy season tickets. So it was really, really nice, actually, even before the bowl game. It was actually really nice to have that plan in place. Laura Clemente on our team, who oversees all of our ticketing strategies, has done an unbelievable job. And then, just being prepared for when that coaching change was made, and just the positivity around the program and the excitement and the energy. And so, it's going to take, those first couple of days were just nuts. Our ticket sales teams were, they didn't have a second to breathe. But can we just keep that consistently? And I think we can. And that's the hope. And it's, obviously the coaching change, the team that's coming back. I think we've got a really good football team coming back. And then the schedule. You get Kentucky, you get Notre Dame at home. It should be a fun season.
I would say it's kind of a little bit of everything put together. How do you just kind of, and I don't want to say it's an easy sell, but it's an easier sell than it has been because of all the emphasis and all the excitement that you have within the program?
Yeah, I think it's just, for me, it's talking to our fans about what we think U of L football can be. And the expectations, you can sit here and say 8-5 was a pretty good year. It was a pretty good year. There's a lot of teams around the country that would love to win 8 games. But I think the excitement is the opportunity to be better than that. The excitement is the opportunity to see what I would presume is going to be really exciting offense. And it's interesting to me how fan bases, through their history of a program, kind of expect certain things in a program, right? And that's how this program was created, was exciting offenses, and so that was really their expectation. And so to be able to bring Jeff in here, and I would presume he's going to provide that based on his track record, to your point, it's still an investment for our fans. I don't ever want to lose sight of the fact that people are paying us for a product, and we've got to deliver on it. So that's what we're going to try to do.
As far as his staff is concerned, are you pretty close, and are you happy with the way things have worked out financially and with hiring the guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff and I had that conversation, obviously, on the front end before his contract was even finalized, as to not necessarily who the personnel would be, but financially what that would look like. And I think Jeff and I think pretty similarly as far as budgeting and things like that goes. So excited about a number of the staff members that he has in here. He's got his 10 assistants, and now strength staff, and now it's just getting to that support staff, your analysts, your QCs, your recruiting personnel, your all those ancillary things that it takes to run a college football program. But we're getting close.
Can you tell us anything at this point about this Indiana stuff? They've kind of leaked out some things. We've heard various chatter about the series.
Yeah, we're going to play in Indianapolis in 2023. There's no opportunity for us and for them to go find another game. So I would presume that they're excited about playing that game. We're extremely excited about playing that game. I think it's a great opportunity for both of our fan bases. I think our student athletes love playing in a pro environment. I think we've got 3 or 4 pro stadiums on our potentially on our schedule next year. And then as you get into that at that point, call it a home and home. I don't have any idea. There's conversations that get had by teams all the time of, hey, this opportunity came up, or and then you get into those discussions around conferences saying, hey, are we going to go 8 to 9 games? So I know we like to schedule these things out for the next 10 to 15 years, but they change all the time. So right now, fully committed to playing in 23. And then we'll see what happens in the future if we mutually think that there's essentially a better opportunity out there. That would be the reasoning. But right now, we committed to a 3-game series. They did too, and that's where we're at right now.
Has anyone from Indiana's athletic administration reached out to you at all?
Like I said, we have conversations all the time with teams and programs, and say, hey, is there an opportunity to do something different? And so, yes, I've had conversations with or we've had conversations I haven't had directly to just say, hey, is there something else out there? And like I said, sometimes it makes sense for both of us, sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of the time you have those relationships where it's like, hey, yep, get it. Like, this is what we're going to do. I mean, we had an issue 2026 where it was going to be Georgia, Kentucky, Notre Dame, which, as you can imagine, we didn't want to do that. And so, we worked with, honestly, I bet it was 10 different teams to get the scheduling just right so that we could potentially pull one of those games off of our schedule, right? And that wasn't that we didn't want to play anybody. It was just that, that would be extremely unfair to our student athletes and our coaches to say, hey, go play those 3 teams in 1 year. So, those, like I said, those conversations get had pretty frequently.
You got the question about basketball, and obviously it's something because they're in season with Kenny and the men's team. They're getting better, still not winning yet. How do you approach that? What do you feel like your role is with Kenny as far as support and just kind of? I mean, I'm assuming you need to encourage them too because it's tough for everybody.
Yeah. Look, this isn't. I can promise you, I don't go home satisfied with we're getting better, and Kenny even more so than me. We don't want to go home and say we're getting better. We're making progress. We understand the expectations in this program, and the expectation is to win a lot of basketball games and compete at an extremely high level. And so for me, it's the same as it is for any program here in the athletic department, and that is about progress. That is about where we were to where we are now to where we want to go. And do I think we're headed in the right direction? And that's not just wins and losses. That's everything around the program. Are we setting ourselves up to be successful? Yes, now, but obviously more so in the future, and creating a foundation that's going to last more than, you catch lightning in a bottle and you had a good year. Like, how do we create a program that's going to be sustainable and be really good year after year? Because that's the expectation around here, and that's what we're going to shoot for. I know that's what Kenny's shooting for. And as far as supporting Kenny, I mean, it's extremely important to me. And until he does something that says, hey, I don't think he should be our basketball coach, I'm going to support him 110%. But I can promise you he hasn't done one thing that has shown me that he shouldn't be our basketball coach. Now, does that mean that any of us are satisfied with 2 wins? Absolutely not. Like I said, it is extremely frustrating, and I can assure you it's frustrating. I know it's frustrating to Kenny. It's frustrating to his staff. It's frustrating to his student athletes. But if you take a step back, and this is really hard to do, it's really hard for fans to do, it's really hard for me to do, it's really hard for Kenny to do, and say, hey, what were we dealing with when we made that coaching transition? Look at who was on this team. Look at the track record they had previously. Look who's not on that team now, based on the personnel there, and then everything from. I don't want to sit here and be a broken record and say, oh, the IRP was a cloud, but it was. That's a fact. Imagine telling, a lot of people look at the transfer portal and say, we should have gotten some high-level recruits. Well, most of your kids in the portal, your high-level kids, they want to compete for a championship. They want to go to the NCAA tournament. And everybody here thought best case scenario was we got a 1-year postseason ban. So imagine being Kenny, imagine being his shoes and saying, hey, really high transfer, you have 1 year of eligibility left, come play for me. First question, well, will I get to play in the NCAA tournament? Everybody's thinking no. Everybody's thinking that there's going to be a postseason ban here. And right away, Louisville gets scratched off the list of where a kid wants to transfer. All of that's behind us. And so now, focused on the future, focused on getting just everything around this program headed in the right direction without anything holding us back. And we've got that opportunity. We have to take advantage of it now. That's not lost on me, that the expectations around this program.
I don't know that you can tell us anything at all, but with stadium naming rights, are you progressing? I know before COVID, obviously, I think they were getting closer and closer, and then Vince had said it was pretty close before he stepped down. Are you getting closer?
Yeah, I would tell you, we've had a number of conversations. I do think we're getting closer to reaching some sort of agreement, but until there's signatures on a piece of paper, I'm never going to say anything's done. And so while I do think there's an opportunity there, we just have to make sure that we continue down the road and our potential partner's happy. And then ultimately, this is going to have to be approved by our Board of Trustees. And so make sure that we go through those channels, and then hopefully we can make sure everybody's happy and get something announced here.
How important is it to get that done?
It's really important. It's really, really important. But once again, making sure that you look at the whole picture. As I've said, we're not just slapping some sponsor up on our stadium. I mean, that's our identity. That's our football program's identity. And so how do we make sure that we're partnering with a really good partner, and that they are going to enhance our brand. And so we'll be intentional with how we do that. And like I said, I think there's a path to get there. We just need to see if we can get there here in short order.
Going back to men's basketball, 2013 is obviously going to be coming back, I think, in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The banner is something that everybody's talking about. It's like you mentioned, I think it was whenever the IRB stuff, it's a process. Has there been any headway made in that, or I guess what's that timeline or journey kind of looking like?
Yeah, obviously we celebrated the '83 Final Four team 2 weekends ago, or last weekend. We celebrated the women's 2013 Final Four team. So this is the 10-year anniversary of the men's 2013 national championship team, and so obviously we want to give the opportunity to them, to our fans, to recognize those achievements. And so that's the Clemson game, I believe. Make sure I got my games right. And so we're going to do everything that we're allowed to do. Are we going to have some conversations about some things that we're allowed to do? Yes. We will do that from an NCAA standpoint. And once again, looking at the entirety, the whole picture, in those in that NCAA case decision, those sanctions, it was very clear that we cannot recognize various teams in any form or fashion in a public from a public standpoint. And so, is there an opportunity, or is there a path forward to try to do that? We're going to try. We're going to try. There was a lot of really good memories and moments that were created by those student athletes and that team, and I absolutely think they should be recognized for that in some form or fashion. So that's what we're going to try to do.
On the baseball side, the renovations, are they on track to be completed by the beginning of the year?
They are.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's really just that the main entry gate there, just to really clean the front end of that stadium up and just get it looking a little bit newer and adding some concourse space. So that's exciting, and hopefully, weather contingent and supply chain and all that. But right now, it's on track to be on schedule for opening day.
And you do get new turf for next season?
For football.
For football. Is that the summer, or is that being done?
No, it'll be this summer, and we're once again have to work around scheduling, and is there any opportunities to do anything in that stadium this summer from a fan standpoint? But yes, we will have new turf in there for first game of the year.
And then for you, it's not like anything happened in your first year at all. What has this been like in just that first year as an AD and just everything that's gone on, and what are you kind of reflecting on or looking to do in year two?
I think I would just start, I think the way I kind of started a year ago, and say that it's an honor and a privilege to be the athletic director for the University of Louisville. I enjoy, I'm not going to say every day, I enjoy a large majority of the days in this role. As I've said, I think we have some of the best coaches in the country. I know we have some of the best staff in the country, best student athletes. But there has been a lot going on here in the last year. But once again, I go back to what I said a year ago. If we can make sure that we put the best interest of the athletic department, the university at the forefront of every decision we make, then I think we'll make some good decisions. And I'm not going to sit here and say we've made the right decision every single day, but I think by and large we've made some good decisions, and we've just got to continue down that path. And as I say, stack one good day on top of another, and just continue to try to build a really good, one of the best athletic departments in the country.
You fielded some NIL questions earlier. You and Kenny obviously had the video messages about 502 Circle. I guess, do you feel like as an athletic department you kind of have to lean in more to NIL because that's kind of what kids are gravitating towards, or how is that kind of playing out now?
Yeah, you know, once again, I think the theme of these questions here is, I guess my answers have been look at the whole picture, and you know, you can sit here and stick your head in the sand and say I don't like NIL, I don't like the direction of college. That's irrelevant because that's the way that it's going. Now we can try to steer it as much as we can, but to your point, I mean, NIL dollars are driving the bus from a recruiting standpoint. And so, and I'll speak specifically on the topic around Kenny. You know, he's never said that he's opposed to NIL. You know, to me, it's a very good point. He doesn't want that to be the motivating factor or the only reason a kid decides to come to the University of Louisville. I mean, he's not naive. He knows where we are in the college athletics world. He knows that NIL is going to have to be involved in these decisions. He doesn't want it to be the only decision. And so all of our coaches understand that, you know. And this isn't just a football, basketball thing. This is it's a women's basketball, it's a volleyball, it's a baseball. I mean, NIL is transforming the landscape of college athletics. And so we just have to put ourselves in a position to be as prepared as we can. And so, you know, we're going to support NIL, we're going to support those collectives or 502 Circle and say, hey, we need people to give dollars to that because, as I said, at the end of the day, you know, our fans want to see a really good product on the field. And whether it's the Kentucky Derby or college athletics or professional athletics, you know, you're only going to be so good as the talent on the field or on the racetrack or whatever it may be. And so we have to have very talented student athletes to compete. And when that happens, then that's where fans get excited and say, hey, I think I'm willing to give a little bit more of what I do or my money to the university because I really believe in what they're doing. I see the success. And so you have to balance that, and that's what we're trying to do.